Hey guys, this is Larry with the BulkLoads podcast. Today I got Zach Kuder in here with me. Zach, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. First podcast. I'm really nervous, but I'm excited.
First podcast.
Yes. Yeah. I've always watched Jared's podcast and I've watched your podcast as of lately. And they're very knowledgeable. I mean, I've always wanted to be able to reflect that and to also project that, I guess. And this is I guess a new experience.
That's awesome. Well, we're happy to have Zach. So if you don't know Zach, Zach was the first Bulk Insurance Group employee.
Right.
He actually moved from BulkLoads over to Bulk Insurance Group even before I moved over here and got it going.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a few different things today. I wanted to bring Zach on because Zach, over the course of the Bulk Insurance Group existence, has talked to hundreds of truckers about insurance in a very short period of time. So before we get into that, Zach, if you want to just talk about your background, I mean, you look like a trucker, so that's a plus. You sound like a trucker, so that's a plus. And you have jokes like a trucker. So those are all three really great qualities that you have. How did you get those qualities? How did you get the BulkLoads? And then how did you get the Bulk Insurance Group?
Yeah, so it's kind of a crazy upbringing. So my dad's been trucking my whole life. You know, he's had his own authority. He's been leased on, but in one way or the other, I've been around trucking since I was really little. So it's kind of in my blood per se.
Yeah.
You know, as I got older and went to college, you know, he was actually starting his new authority again on his own, hauling tankers. And after I graduated college, there was a little short period of time where I wasn't working for BulkLoads. I was actually dispatching for a heavy equipment rental company.
Okay.
And so that kind of prepared me for the trucker lingo, which I'd already had a good grasp on to begin with. Because talking to my dad, it's just
a lot of 10-4s.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's super easy. And, so after I dispatched for about a year and a half or so, I met Jared. It was a good opportunity and I jumped on it. And it's actually a really funny story. After I walked out of my interview, I called my dad and I'm like, hey, you know, I just interviewed at this company called BulkLoads and it sounds like something that you would really fit into. And he's like, no kidding. You know, I'm actually wearing one of their hoodies right now. And we just cracked up.
So he didn't know before?
No. We had never talked to each other about BulkLoads one time.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah. It was a really crazy experience. So, but I worked with BulkLoads for a year and a half or so or actually, I think it was right at a year before the insurance finally came into fruition.
Yeah.
And it's just been a blast getting to talk to, you know, other trucking companies, other truck drivers. I like to joke, but it's really, I'm really serious when I say this. I get paid to talk to like-minded people and it's a blast. I love doing it. So
that's great. So first of all, I want to talk about what it was like growing up in a trucking household. Mm-hmm. What was that like having a dad that was on the road and what were some of the challenges and what were some of the rewards?
Yeah. I mean, definitely being surrounded by that type of community and that type of individual. I mean, it definitely prepared me for what I'm doing now. A lot of what my dad did growing up was local stuff, hauling fuel to local gas stations. So he was home on a daily basis. And he's very mechanically inclined. So like I got to, you know the ins and outs of a truck, which I regretfully admit that I'm not very mechanically inclined. Yeah. I know enough to get myself in trouble. Right. But you know, just knowing the ins and outs of the operation and learning the different facets. Like I mentioned, he was leased on to multiple companies before he decided to do his own thing. And then it kind of gave me a broad spectrum of understanding what the trucking industry is like as a whole. Sure. Because even though he did even though he did tanker, he actually started out hauling hay on a flatbed. Sure. Did tanker for several years. And then right before I started doing BulkLoads, I guess is when he started doing the hopper stuff.
So the timing was almost like coincided.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. The timing's everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Talk a little bit about the challenges of being in a family with somebody a trucking. Was there, you know, we talk to a lot of people where it's like, hey, my dad's on the road a lot. Yeah. And that comes with struggle. Did you ever feel any sort of feelings of, hey, dad's gone again on the road? I mean, trucking is a hard job and people don't understand the physical wear and tear on the body from trucking. Yeah. Did he experience any of that?
You know, I think most of that came later in life. most of his longer trips where he would leave out on a Saturday night and be gone and doing, from Joplin to Texas loads or whatever, just going back and forth all week long. That kind of happened whenever I was in college. So I didn't really get to experience a whole lot of him being gone as a younger individual, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed having him around and getting to bounce ideas off of. And, he kind of molded me into who I am today. So I have a lot to thank him for that. But I think I was really fortunate to not have to be apart from him for long periods of time growing up and in a very, vital stage in life. I guess. So
that's good.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned already, but you're one of our hardest workers here. Every time I go out, you're always on the phone with somebody. Mm-hmm. You're always going the extra mile. You're always going to see your clients. Do you think that your upbringing, watching your dad do what he was doing in the truck, has a correlation to how you currently
absolutely
work?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. A lot of times, I'll admit, when I started at BulkLoads, it was a kind of a slow start for me. I didn't get it right off the bat. Calling and talking to strangers wasn't something that I was used to doing, I guess. So there's a little bit of uncomfortability there. But I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. Me and Jared sat down, and he's like, What is going on? He's like, your dad is a truck driver. Like, why are you struggling to talk to other truck drivers? And it clicked just like that. And from that moment forward, I pictured it and felt like every conversation I was talking to my dad. And I think that really helped propel me to the position that I'm in today, because every conversation just came natural at that point. There wasn't any awkwardness or anything. I mean, everything just flowed. I knew exactly what to say. And it's just weird how I was able to put two and two together and make that happen.
Yeah, that's funny. So Zach's known in our office for belly laughing on the phone with truckers. And I think it's funny. Your jokes are pretty cheesy. And I think it's funny. We've both talked to hundreds of truckers in the last year and a half or so. And so it's funny because you have that kind of infectious, the belly laugh we call it around here, but I always appreciate that. Switching gears a little bit. So you get to BulkLoads, you kind of struggle to pick it up. You finally understand the load board. Mm-hmm. Talk about how understanding the load board gives you a competitive advantage over a lot of insurance agencies. You've worked over, man, if I had to guess, I bet you've worked 200, 300 accounts in the last year.
Easily.
Early on, it was just me and you in the Ozark loft.
Oh, and my gosh, good times.
Phone calls and trying to get the wheels moving on this thing.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that experience, and also about kind of what you're hearing right now from truckers in the marketplace and your advantage knowing the load board and our other services.
Absolutely. I mean, I can count numerous, I guess, spots where I've had an insured call me and say, hey, work's slow right now. And that's one of the things I'm hearing a lot is work is slow. Insurance is high. Your expenses are at an all-time high. I mean, that's something that I hear on almost every single phone call that I have right now. But the amount of times I've had an insured call me and say, hey, I'm really struggling right now. I can't find any work. And I can hop on the load board and find work in their area and be like, hey, have you talked to this company? It looks like they have a load that's staying pretty local to you. And they said that, call for a rate.
Sure.
I mean, it's situations like that you can't call your insurance agent. I mean, unless you're working with us, you can't call your insurance agent and get that information.
Right.
I mean, that is beyond valuable.
Yeah.
And
how often does that scenario occur?
Right now, it happens almost on a weekly basis.
So you're getting somebody off the load board that's calling, one of our insureds that's calling you and saying, you're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
They're just venting to you. Hey, I can't find work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What do I do? I got a truck out in Arkansas or wherever.
Absolutely. And definitely starting out through BulkLoads and working through as an inside sales on the BulkLoad side has really prepared me to be able to navigate the load board and find stuff a lot quicker than somebody who hasn't really looked at it that long.
Sure.
And I always like to encourage the other salesmen that are working over there right now is like, hey, it may be tough for you to find loads quick right now, but the more that you do it, the quicker it's going to come. And I tell it to customers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the load board is such a valuable resource to a trucking company. It's just a matter of sitting down and learning learning the ins and outs of it that can really propel you further than anybody else.
Yeah, that's really good. So I want to keep on this topic just a little bit.
Mhm.
We've won a lot of accounts.
Yeah.
We're growing at a really fast rate. I'd venture to say we're one of the fastest growing insurance agencies, trucking specific insurance agencies in the Midwest. We've got really good contracts. We're doing all the right things.
Mhm.
How is it that, or let me back up. What is in your mind, what is the process when we get a BulkLoads member
Mhm.
that says they're interested in insurance? What does that look like from start to finish, and how you go about that? So you may get a guy that calls in from BulkLoads. Talk about what that first call looks like, how you introduce yourself, and then how you lay the expectation for, if we're going to work on the insurance, here's what we do.
Yeah. I think it's really important to just, disarm all the barriers, and lay down all the walls. Because at the end of the day, we know we're just humans talking to each other. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to learn more about you and understand how we connect on a ground level.
Yeah.
I guess.
How often does a person call from BulkLoads and they're in a really good spot and you're just like, hey,
oh, it happens all the time.
Let's not work on it this year.
Yeah. I mean, especially right now with the insurance market being as hard as it is, a lot of cases, if somebody's calling and saying, hey, I'd like to shop right now, it's like, hey, honestly, you probably better, wait it out a little bit longer. And also if they're with a good market, I mean, there's no point in providing or trying to move somebody to a worse market whenever they're in the best place they can be. And I think that having that honesty with somebody can really, I don't know, I guess it really affects your integrity. It's I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I think it's really important. And I think it's something that we've really tried to hang our hats on, because we don't just serve clients on insurance. Mm-hmm. We also serve clients on, smart freight,
absolutely,
the dispatch system, TMS, and the load board. So I think it's really important as a company, as we've continued to grow, to make sure that we're serving the clients well. And if that means walking away from business,
oh gosh, yeah,
that's something that we always preach is, hey, if they're with the best market at the best price, maybe it doesn't make sense. As a salesperson, that's cringy to hear.
Oh yeah,
and it's tough to walk away. But I think that you do that really well. I was just curious kind of how often that happens. Talk a little bit about what you're hearing from insureds as it relates back to insurance. So what are they telling you? What are you hearing? What's kind of the temperature gauge?
I think right now, as far as renewal rates are going, there hasn't been very many talks of decreases. I think one in every maybe 20 phone calls of somebody that's coming up on renewal is a decrease.
Yeah.
So it's a very odd if you're getting a decrease right now. That's just the state of the market and how it's sitting. Those conversations are always tough conversations to have. We're going through some of our first renewal cycles right now, and it's tough to relay that message that, hey, you may have done everything right this year, but your rate's still going up. And it's nothing against you. It's just the state of the market. That's just a tough message to convey. And so we're getting a lot of phone calls from people who are disappointed. They're upset. They don't understand. They're not getting the answers, I guess, that they're wanting to hear.
Yeah.
And it's tough because, we don't necessarily have the answers either, but we can say that, over the past 13 years, and I'm sure you've probably said this on other podcasts, but in past 13 years, insurance companies have only been profitable 1 year.
Right.
And that was the result of COVID back in, I think it's 2021.
Yeah. No one was driving.
Exactly. So the fact that there's all these trucks on the road and there's so many claims that are coming about, there's no profit to be made by insurance companies. The only way to fix that is to raise rates.
Right.
So it really sucks. It's never a fun conversation to have. But I'll say this, if your insurance agent is not telling you that your insurance rates are going to go up, if he's not telling you, or he or she's not telling you to expect an increase at your renewal, then they are doing you a disservice. Because you really need to be budgeting that. And I think on one of your recent podcasts, you mentioned that. That really hit home for me because that's something that is really close to what we do.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that the goal is always to keep your clients educated. And that the goal of every agent should be to prepare your insured of what's to expect at the renewal. Now, insurance is a weird game because we've been talking about this for a long time. You know, rates are going up. We've collectively saved our clients over $500,000.
It's been crazy.
So as rates go up, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get an increase. There's other opportunities or other ways that you can actually get a decrease.
Yeah.
Most of the time we see it when your agent is a local agent that might not specialize in trucking.
Right.
They probably don't have the deductible options correct. Maybe the equipment values are really inflated, causing your premium to go up. And so there's all these other factors that you really need an expert to look at,
absolutely,
analyze your policy, and then make recommendations. We've also seen a lot where we move maybe an account from a lesser quality insurance market to one of our better markets, causing a lot of price savings. So as hard as the market is, we're still getting some rate decreases. Right. Now that's not the standard, but it's just funny how it's hard to know.
Oh, it is hard. It's impossible.
It's impossible. And I think what we can do really well is, and I think we do this well, and I think you really do this well, is we communicate well. So good, bad, or ugly, you got to call your client and let them know what's going on. And for us, that's even more important because that client may not just be a client on insurance. No. It may be a client on the load board. It may be a Smart Freight client. It may be a bulk TMS client. Like when we pool all of our resources together, the conversations and how we present information to our clients on the insurance group is so important because it reflects on our whole company.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I think you do really well at. But I also think that it's a huge competitive advantage that we have over our competition in the insurance space.
Yeah. You know, we've always strived from the very beginning to be the leader in bulk ag insurance and just bulk ag trucking in general. And it's funny that that's our goal to be that. But I think what's funny is that ever since we've started, we've already been there.
Yeah.
Because of all the resources that we have available at our fingertips. I mean, the knowledge that we can provide to our customers on the insurance or on the bulk load side. You don't know how many, bulk loads customers and clients we talk to that has questions about insurance. You know, we may not be your agent, but we want to provide you that information. That way you can make a smart decision when it comes to your insurance.
Yeah.
Informing our clients is what we do. It's why we've created all these companies that surrounds the bulk ag industry.
Yep. No, that's good. We'll finish up here real quick. It's Thanksgiving week.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk. What are you most thankful for?
I'm aside from family. I mean, I know it's kind of the go-to that everybody likes to go to. I mean, I'm very thankful for my family. You know, me and my wife, we've got a very large family between both of our families. I think right underneath that has got to be the work family.
Yeah.
I mean, we've created such a positive culture here at this office that, Jared was speaking about it earlier this week. You know, it doesn't feel like a job coming in here. You know, it's something that I wake up and I'm excited to go to work, just because of the people that I get to work with, both the people here in the office and also you guys out there as well. The conversations that I have with truck drivers are just natural. And like I said earlier, you know, it's I get paid to talk to people. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Super blessed.
There's so much to be thankful for. I would echo that. And I would say that as a company, we're thankful for our clients. I mean, that's the core of what we do is we serve the bulk trucking industry, specifically bulk motor carriers. And we're honored to do that. It's fun that we get to do that. And we're blessed that we get to come in here, like you said, and have like-minded people, and have leadership like Matt and Jared and Rachel.
Oh my gosh, yeah, great
that would
people.
do anything for any of our clients at any time.
Yeah.
So we want to say thank you again. This was a really fun podcast, Zach. I'm glad that we got you on here.
Got my first one over with.
You were the first bulk insurance group employee. You're our top producer. You have a large book of business. It's continuing to grow, and I understand why people want to work with you.
Yeah.
Our clients are served well by you, and that's exciting for me to see, and it's something that is very special. So
thank you.
Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. You can reach out to Zach at bulkinsurancegroup.com. You can reach out to me anytime at Larry at bulkinsurancegroup.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See ya.